Hey guys, in this video, we're going to be talking about Firebase rules, Firebase security in general, we're going to be looking at Firestore in general. So, not all Firebase services have security. This Firestore security, the database is like the most important because when you build an app, it's very important. You should add some level of security to make sure that anybody can from anywhere cannot just easily hack your app. So first of all, if you click start in test mode, maybe you watch a YouTube tutorial like mine. If you click start, they'll tell you to start in test mode so that you can just be easily doing it because security is something you can add up later. But if you click start in test mode, this is what you will get. And this is very hackable because you're gonna say, how are they gonna get my UID or my whatever? One thing you notice that in if you come here for example now, let me just show you something because some people out there they question things a lot. If you go to the okay, I don't know why the inspect button is not working. If you come here, for example, now if you come to the network tab, where or if I come to the network tab, where this tab records requests from different things. So as your app is getting stuff from Firebase, the requests are going to be recorded here, and as you can see, so one was recorded. It's going to be recorded here, and your Firebase credentials is going to be exposed here. It could be exposed here. It is exposed here. So that could be one of the ways that you could get hacked. So security is something that you should pay attention to before building a production ready app because they'll tell you never ever do that. Okay, so now you know the importance of security. Let's get into building one. I said this is very hackable. We'll look at the structure of the rule first. So it says rule version 2 because this is like the latest version. The previous version could not allow you to do some specific things like this wasn't possible. We'll talk about what that is in a moment. It says serves the Firestore, Bracer of Infantry, Firestore database. Then it says match, okay, slash database document. So you're just saying match all the database documents, and this one now is not like saying, okay, match every single document, every single sub document, whatever, as long as the document match it. Okay, cool. But this one is not saying here, it's not saying allow read, allow write if true. And true is true. So it's always going to allow people to read any document anywhere, anyhow. So read and write are operations. We have different operations. We have update, we have delete, we have get, we have create, we have a lot more. You can check the docs in more detail. But we're going to be focusing on write and read for this data. So for example, now we could say, okay, if false. So this is a little bit too secure. What this does is that it says, okay, match all the document, allow read and write. Nobody can read from the database whatsoever. Nobody can ever. So even you can't even read from the database. So this is a little bit too secure. So first of all, I'm going to open my own data in the so because we are going to be testing these rules. We are not just working in abstract here. Firebase has a rule program that you can test it. So we'll test some of these rules. As you can see, I said these are the different distance. So these are the different operations I told you about earlier. So we will test some of our rules. We are not just working in abstract here, so that we have. So I have two collections with reports and users. Okay, uh, which reports and users. Okay. Okay. So if I wanted to match only reports only, not users, because this will match to reports and users. So if I only wanted to match to reports, I'll say something like match reports slash report. Wait, let's make sure. Make sure it's a perfect match. Report, okay. Report ID. So what are we doing here essentially? This is saying match report collection, and and when you're done, you could publish your rules, but don't worry about that. And this essentially is the report ID. It's kind of like a wildcard variable. So a very good example to explain this is that let's just come here for an example now. You might not know JavaScript, but chances are that you know how to program. And for example, now, okay, for example, if you have a function, for example, now I'm just going to define a very basic function. If you have a function, for example, and it says add, or it's just greet, and greet takes in a name, and what greet does with that name is that it's just console. Sorry, let's modify the function. And what greet does is that greet console the logs the value of name. Okay, so if you call greet and you pass in like my name, for example, now it's going to say Alex. The name variable is could be anything. It's like a wildcard. It could be anything passed into here. It's an argument. It could be anything passed into there. Same thing. This report ID could be any one of these ones passed. Could be any one of these ones. So okay, so we're saying allow read and write false. We could say something like allow read if true, comma, allow write colon if false. Okay, so we have we're not supposed to leave a comma here. So this actually is in JavaScript actually, so something weirder. So we're allowing read, but we're not allowing write. We could test it out here. We could say allow read, and we could say path to resource. Take slash report. Say path must be at document level. So what we need here is that we need this document ID. So what we'll do is I will copy this random document ID. So let's just say we were making a request from this document. And you can see we can toggle the authenticated tab. We'll come to that in a minute. So you said simulation allowed. But if we come here and we say create is considered as a write operation. And if we come here, it will say simulation denied. See, congratulations. You a first, just made a rule work. How does that feel? Everybody feels right. Nice. So we could take this a step further by with sub collections. So sometimes your data might have collections inside of collections. Like now I could say, for example, now what could be inside a report. So we could say the body of the report now, for example. Body of the report. And we'll just pass in document ID to be uh, ID. We'll take in the field. So the field will just say test value 123. Okay, so now we have created a sub collection. Okay, so we come here now. So we can come here to slash body. Can come here to slash, okay, slash body slash. Let's make sure this is done correctly. Slash. Then the name of that one was ID. So just pass it in like so. Let's go to the end of this. Put our cursor pointer here. Okay. So now I want to write a rule to govern it. So we could just come here inside of here and say match. We're inside reports now. Now this is a reports collection. You can see reports. We're inside our document. We're inside reports now. So we are not defining a rule for this. So we're saying body dash body ID. And again, body ID could be anything in this case here. Okay. So what we want to do is that we want them to be able to write to the body ID. So we can say write true. Now if we run this, it works. So now we are talking about sub collections. Really nice, right? Okay, you notice that the second one I have here is users, and it's for a reason. We have one users at the moment, but that should be sufficient. So we're going to be talking about user. So you can see there's an authenticated tab here. So if you want people to be able to write to a certain document only if they are authenticated, you can do that by saying if request, okay, request the auth the UID is not equal to null. Oh, sorry, okay, I guess is one equal to. So if you have ever used Firebase authentication before, you know there's the UID, which stands for user ID, and is available on when you create a user with Firebase. So this is going to check if the user is authenticated, then it's going to allow them to write. Previously we could not write here because if we try, okay, let's go back to the original document level, not the sub collection. I just want to just show you that sub collection exists, that you can do that. But we're going to be working with this document for the most part. You know that when we tried here, sorry, when we tried here, we could not read because if our rule is already working. When we're not authenticated, we cannot. But when we are authenticated, you can see we can even add another layer of customization to this. But let's just keep it simple. So now our rule allows us to write to the database only if we are authenticated. Pretty nice, right? So let's try and get we can even get we can allow we can take this even further. We can say okay. So what we want to do now, okay, this is all nice and nice. What we want to do is I want to go start writing for the user document. So say slash user. Let's check it. Users slash user ID. Okay, now it's asking us for what do we want to write. So we want to access incoming data, that is data coming from is you use request. But to access the data in Firebase, you use resource. So you can check the resource. If resource.data, so we say something like allow read, or let's just make this allow write if, okay, add a colon here, if resource.data is equal. So what we just do here for this thing, we'll add a field here. I'll call this a public because the user profile could not be public. It could be public. In this case, we are not going to make it public, but it could be public. It could not be told. If resource.data dot public. So this is going to check if it is public. If it's not public, it's going to do its job. So as this thing, we need this document ID as normal. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to say users. Right? That is all nice. The user is authenticated. Run. So it didn't work. Okay, set okay. If okay, let's make this more specific. If resource.data is double equal to, let's put this in a string, true. Publish. Make sure you publish your rule. We'll come here, we'll simulate a create request users slash this. So it allowed it because our is public is true. If it weren't true, were false, we come here, try and run this again. it is going to deny it. So nice. We are able to check if the user data is true, if the user data is public. This could be nice for like a kind of profile kind of application where you don't want to show a user's profile. We'll change this to true. Okay, now so now our simulation is essentially working. So what we want to do is that we can make this even more secure by saying allow read. Okay, if request the auth, you could say auth UID auth is not equal to null. So as you can see now, if we try and get to the same document, when we run it, it says simulation denied. Did not allow it because the request in all the request is null. So if you come here now and come to create, you see when we're not authenticated, it works, which we don't want it to work if we aren't authenticated. So we want to copy this. I want to add this. So this is how you do compound rules. And okay, so you don't want double ifs. So it should work now. So if we are not authenticated, make sure you click on save. We run it, it says simulation denied. It does not allow us to do this. Okay, now before we wrap up the video, I want to show you one cool thing about about Firebase rules. We can do functions. So we can say function check if user. Make sure you keep your functions as descriptive as possible, how so that you don't get. You can just take this here. So what we will do here is I will say we'll return request auth does not equal to null, or we could just say we could take in okay we could say if I could say check user. I think we should just change it to check user. So check user. Yeah, I think we should just return the value of the request auth of null. So we just return this. Uh, we say if check user. So whatever this value returns, it should work. So if we come here, we'll remove this redundant code now. So check user. Save. We try, we are not authenticated. Denied instantly. Now we are authenticated. Allowed. That is Firebase rules. As of course to anything, this is only the surface of it. If you want me to do a part 2 covering other things, comment down below. Or otherwise just give the video a thumbs up and I'll see you in the very next tutorial.